First of all, thanks for being here. Week's been good for us. I got back quickly from Northern, which is a good thing, and safely. Sometimes when you're up in the UP and that lake effect, travel can be an issue, and it wasn't. So it's been a good week for us so far this week. It was a good weekend for us. Found a way to get 6 points in a very difficult building. We needed it. We had gone into break on a little bit of a limp, and the guys went back, handled themselves in a real good manner, came back in really good shape, and with a real renewed focus. And hopefully, it's something we can continue here. We know we're going to a building where there's a lot of excitement going on in just hockey, not just college hockey, but the National Hockey League. There's a lot of people talking about Mullet Arena. About ASU, I've got a lot of respect for Coach Powers and what they're building at that university as far as their hockey program and the history that they've had and the success that they've had. And, we've been able to really foster a relationship with them over time because as we continue to grow the game in our world as far as college hockey, it's better for everybody. And so we look forward for the opportunity of going out and seeing those guys and playing in a brand new facility and having our own experience.
All right, we'll open with Kevin Dudley from the Free Press.
Just how exciting is it to get to, make this trip to play Arizona State? They've played so many good teams, and after last week fighting through what you fought through to get to Northern, you leave in a snowstorm. A flight to Arizona probably sounds a little bit better than what you did last week, right?
Yeah, it just different. First of all, being able to get through last weekend and turning the page and getting to your, the second half of the season happens so fast. And I think after the first half evaporates as quickly as it does, it allows the athletes to look at it and say, whoa, we better pay attention to where we're at right now because it can end in a hurry. So for us, our excitement's about going out and experiencing the facility and the opportunity. Every time we've played ASU, they've made us better. They're talented. They play up tempo. They're a team that you better be on point. And what I saw at the beginning of the year when they played Duluth, they had a lot of the better of the play. And so we're going to have our hands full.
All right, Dylan, we'll go to you next.
Dylan Pescator over at ASU Livestream, Arizona State University. Coach, thank you for doing this. Past 4 weeks, it's been sweep, get swept, sweep, get swept. How do you start to find that consistency into starting to stack up wins in the second half?
Dylan, if I could mix that concoction right now, we'd be drinking it every day. We're still in search of that consistency. And when you talk about college coaching in any sport, you're in pursuit of that every single day. And so for us, it's about trying to build our week, and then when adversity hits, make sure we stare it in the eye and move forward and try and go through it instead of around it. We've sprung a leak here and there on a given weekend, and we haven't been able to plug it in time. This last weekend we did. We gave up the first goal both nights, and still found a way to fight back on the road and win 2 hockey games. So for us, what was that? Well, we had some guys, our leadership group, the guys that have been carrying the mail for us offensively, made a tremendous impact on Friday. And then we had a few guys on Saturday that hadn't been around. Brendan Furry really, it's been good to see not only him score the way that he did on Saturday, but really how it's continuing now in practice. We had a couple of freshmen, one freshman in Adam Isley, who scored a big-time goal, and then fourth-line right wing Connor Gregus scores a goal. So we had secondary scoring, and we had solid goaltending. So to me, if we can get that mix on a consistent basis, maybe we'll find some consistency in the wins-loss column.
All right, Don Westfall, we'll go to you, then Carson.
Coach, how exciting is it for you to see the program now that is elevated to the extent I understand there's going to be a pretty strong contingency of Maverick fans out in Tempe this weekend? I know there's going to be an alumni rally before the games on Saturday. How exciting is it for you to see the program now elevated where when you go on the road, and obviously it's a little bit of a distance, yet there's going to be a strong presence of Maverick fans in the building?
Oh, well, there's some pride involved in that, but at the end of the day, I've been watching hockey in Arizona for a while, and it seems like the visitors show up a little bit more in Arizona than they do in Houghton, Michigan, uh, and and so from our standpoint, I do think it's important that for the people that take the time, spend the money, and come out and support us, whether it's alumni, whether it's just the casual fan or it's family. We want to be very appreciative and make sure we acknowledge that. And but at the end of the day, we're going out to play a really good hockey team. And so, from our standpoint, we're going to have to, it's a business trip. We've got to go out and accomplish what we want to accomplish, which is trying to get better as a hockey team.
All right, Carson, go ahead.
Carson Bigelow with the MSU Reporter. Coach, last year you guys were able to control ASU pretty single-handedly, but this year the team looks almost completely different. They've been able to get a lot of transfers from other big-name schools like Master Simone and even Sillinger, playing them all the time against Bemidji State. How have you guys started to take that into consideration, playing an older team that has that experience now coming together and sort of rallying around this new building, this new energy, and this new vibe that they're carrying over in Tempe?
Well, first of all, we do know, we chased Sillinger around quite often while he was at Bemidji. Sometimes we caught him, most times we didn't. He had a really good run against us when we played him at BSU, as far as some individual success. And Master Simone's a really good hockey player. He came in here on a visit and decided he wanted to go to ASU. He's a really good hockey player. I think he's got a bright future in front of him. I think you're seeing one of the, premier young players in college hockey in Doane, and how he plays the game and how honest he plays it. Coach Powers and their staff do a really good job at bringing in players and developing them. And so from our standpoint, we're going to have to go out and be as complete as we need to be, because there aren't many teams that have gone in there and won 2 hockey games, let alone 1. So for us, we're climbing up a hill against a real quality opponent, and we're going to have to be good if we're going to get any wins this weekend.
Jake Livingstone was named the CCHA Defenseman of the Week this week. I think sometimes we get in the grind of the season and, you kind of almost look past the horses sometimes, and the amount of minutes he's played. I wanted to ask you about that. Just talk about, I know your decor has been banged up at times, and he's just been a rock. How much of an asset has he been being able to play the minutes? And talk about the skill that goes with that, even more than just, the fitness, the ability to know how to pace yourself, especially when you're playing back-to-backs.
Well, I think you're seeing Jake continue to grow. Myself, teams that are out there watching him, nobody's putting any more into the idea of what he wants to get out of a day more than Jake. He's never shied away from the idea of what it is to work and continue to make himself better. You saw that this last weekend. He scored a couple of empty netters that were big-time goals for us to be able to seal games. I thought on Friday night it was one of his most complete hockey games on the offensive side and on the defensive side. On Saturday, just because of, as you said, the road miles that he had, the highway miles that he had played the night before, he did a really good job of managing the second night, even though he probably wasn't as impactful defensively as he wants to be. That's the best thing about him is he wants to be a really good hockey player, and so he's willing to spend the time, look in the mirror, be a self-evaluator. And when you're coaching someone like that, it's enjoyable because he's trying to get better, and he's okay with you trying to squeeze a little more juice out of that grape than not, because he wants to be as good as he can be.
Any other questions on the Zoom? Dylan, 1 second here. Go ahead, Dylan.
All right. Coach, when you come into an opponent, whether it be Northern Michigan, whether it be Arizona State, and what they bring to the table, how much do you change your game plan to another team rather than sticking with what you got? Is there a percentage? Is there a type of mindset that you take into it? How do you go about that?
That's a really good question. I think it depends a little bit. One, how we're playing at the time, where our game's at. if our game's a little bit off the rails, we'll spend a little more time on us specifically. But at the end of the day, I don't think it's any different. I've been fortunate to be under some really good head coaches, whether that's Don Lucia at Minnesota, whether that's Dean Blaze at UNO. And seeing how they manage things. At the end of the day, it's first focus on yourself, but special teams, what do they do on the special teams? What are some looks that they like to go to at important times? Power play, penalty kill, what are they doing on a forecheck? Because a lot of us, we'll have nuances and adjustments that happen throughout the game. We'll have a couple of adjustments throughout the week. But at the end of the day, we don't want our guys thinking too much. We want them just going out and playing and reacting to what's there. Obviously, systems and where guys are going to be is just a little bit of a roadmap so you understand what's around you. But at the end of the day, I think you see two teams here together that will play with some structure, but there's also going to be some freedom within this game to be able to let the players be themselves. And I think that's the same on both sides of the card between ourselves or ASU.
All right, Adam, go ahead.
Thank you. Adam Gordon, Pac-12 Network. I have two questions. First one, who needs, in your mind, to have a big second half for you to get to where you were last year? You know, you won 18 in a row heading right into that final game. Who are you counting on to have a big second half? And the second question, I was hoping to do kind of a little story on Ryan Sandel and the whole idea of his father being the head coach at Duluth. Is there a story there that is worth telling?
Yeah, the first, for us, I think Ryan's one of them, and so I'll answer that, the first one a little bit with Ryan. He scored 21 goals a year ago, and a lot of times at this level, some people, some players, whether it's fans, whether it's coaches, or whether it's the player themselves, they just they think that human nature is you're just going to pick up where you left off. Each team's unique, each season's unique, and Ryan, not from a lack of effort or from a lack of preparation, pucks weren't going in for him early. Now you're starting to see that come back, as most goal scorers will do, and Ryan's just kept his nose to the grindstone and continue to work on things, keeping a really good attitude and making sure that he can contribute for us, because we've had some other guys with Nathan Smith walking out the door, Julian Napravnik walking out the door. Some of our offensive firepower left, and so maybe a little bit more added responsibility, whether that's internal or whether that's external. I know he was feeling that, and so himself, Brendan Furry, Cade Borchardt, guys that came back, Andres Pavel, Jake Livingstone, Akita Rossi, guys that had opportunities to sign NHL contracts came back. So we're going to need those guys to squeeze as much as they can out of this back half, combined with our goaltending and our young defensive core. Those are the three spots that I think we need growth over the second half to see us have some success. The second question, I think there's a story there. Just because I've been fortunate, I can call Scotty Sandelin a peer. I'm not equal to. He's hung a few national championship banners, but I can also call him a friend. We've worked together on some USA Hockey things. I've been an assistant for him. He's been an assistant for me in the World Juniors. When we were recruiting Ryan, I finally, in our staff meetings on Mondays when we were going over the recruiting piece, it was, hey, you know what about Sandelin? And I said, okay, finally, I'll make the call. So I called Scotty and just said, hey, listen, is he going to be a Bulldog or is he going to go somewhere else? And, Scotty was kind enough. He said, you know what, I think Ryan wants to go on his own. He wants to kind of cut his own path. And I said, okay, is it okay if I call Wendy, which is Scott's wife, Ryan's mom, because I wanted to get permission that way, and I wanted to go to the decision maker other than Ryan. And so at the end of the day, I think it's a great story because you've got somebody that has been leading a program for decades and a program that obviously is one of the best in the country year in and year out. And I think the best story is just the type of human beings that they are and the family that they are. And I think they've done a lot for college hockey and hockey all around. And to see Ryan have the success that he's had here, I know he's going to have a lot more success moving forward.
Came out strong. We missed a day there because of the weather, but I think we came back the next 2 days and got some good work in. And and then we just played our game this weekend. I was really proud of our group.
All right, we'll go to you next, Carson.
Keto, I'll be the first one to ask it this weekend. Going to Arizona, playing at Mullet. Obviously, it's a brand new facility. Houses an NHL team. What's the excitement like among you personally, and then amongst the guys as a group just heading into this weekend?
I'd say we're all definitely excited just to get some nice warm weather, but at the end of the day, I'm sure Coach harped on this a little bit, but it's a business trip at the end of the day, so we're just going there and looking to get 6 points and just play our game and keep building what we're doing here.
Another question for Akito. Got one here in the room.
I think with Arizona State, we saw them last year. I think Coach mentioned this pace is something that stands out with their forward group. Maybe just talk a little bit about what you've seen on film from them this week and what to kind of expect.
Yeah, I think they're they got a good team over there. They got a good skilled group of forwards. So I think we just gotta stick to the inside, have good sticks, have good gap, a lot of communication out of our D-men, and help from our forwards, and I think we'll be fine. I mean, they got a good team, but I think we're coming around real nice.
All right, Dylan, we'll go to you next.
Hi, Keto. What are the type of names or forwards that you're looking at Arizona? Maybe that first line, you've seen Sillinger before, but when you look at this Arizona State team, what are the names that you key on?
The names that come to mind would be Master Simone, or however you say it. He's a good player. Obviously, Sillinger played at Bemidji, so we know a lot about him. As for D-man, I mean, they got that 27, the mobile lefty, and Judson played against him a little bit in the BC, so I know he's a mobile offensive guy. So, I mean, honestly, it's not about individuals. I think it's just about what they do collectively as a team. So as long as we stick to our game, I think we'll be fine.
Any other questions for Akito? One more.
Keto, the role this year, I know the D-core is a little less experienced and there's been some injuries to it. As a result, yourself and Jake Livingstone have played a lot of minutes. Maybe just talk about the adjustment to that, especially on the second night of the back-to-backs, just playing the minutes, and has it been kind of a process learning to pace yourself, especially in those second nights?
Yeah, a little bit. I think both of us have grown a lot from our freshman year and just legs-wise kind of adapted to the college game, so I think we're both more prepared to play those extra minutes, but at the same time, I think at this point during the year, the rest of our D-core has stepped up a lot and kind of taken that load back off of us, so I mean, it's not just us. I mean, we're a collective group out there, and I think we're doing a really good job.
Dylan, we'll go back to you for another.
Last one for me. Keto, TJ Septenfelter, one of the best goaltenders in the nation. He faces 40-plus shots every night. What are the type of scouting reports of what have you seen on film from him, and how do you guys plan on putting the puck in the back of the net against such a big frame like TJ?
Well, if you looked at the stats, I don't have a goal currently, so for me, I'd say just trying to get pucks through that first layer from the point, and for our forwards, probably just get into the hard areas, get into the trough, and just trying to probably move them east and west laterally, and get off one-timers, quick shots. Best chance.